Buying my first house financially was one of the best decisions I ever made, but buying my first investment property really opened the doors to financial freedom. And honestly, I almost didn't do it. One smart money move I would recommend is that when you have an opportunity in front of you, you want to do your research, you want to ask questions, and then hopefully connect with someone who's where you want to be financially to learn from them. Sometimes the biggest opportunities you have in front of you come from things you don't understand yet, but you're willing to learn about. So back in 2024, I had already owned my home for a few years, starting to understand money a little bit better. I wasn't fully thinking like an investor yet. The defining point for me was having someone approach me about investing in real estate and really breaking everything down for me step by step. Craziest part was, before that, I had never thought about buying real estate for investing purposes. That really started to open my eyes to what was actually possible. This person ended up being my mentor. They were steering me towards the Airbnb short-term rental route at first, but then I ultimately decided on long-term rentals, at which at the time I think they had about 3 to 4 units. They actually took me on a tour of one of their units. The building was very nice. It was in downtown Chicago, and that is really what sold me. But even with that step, I was still hesitant. You're talking at least between $50,000 and $70,000 cash that you have to put down on an investment property if you want to avoid private mortgage insurance, to not pay extra each month. So I was still relatively on the fence, but that's when I started to do research about how I can fund this down payment. And I was taking on quite a lot of risk. I decided to tap into an old IRA that I had from my first big career job. I was at for about 7 years. Remember back to, I think, my first few videos, I was allocating 3% of my salary towards a 401k. When I left that company, I rolled that over into an independently managed IRA with a financial advisor. And then at this point, I decided to cash that IRA out. And keep in mind that there's absolutely no guarantee that if you buy an investment property for the purpose of renting it out, that you will get it rented out as soon as you would want to. So there's a ton of uncertainty, there's a ton of money involved, and I'm a very analytical person, and I was extremely hesitant to make this decision. Ended up cashing out that IRA. In the end, I got about $51,000, and I had to have 10% withheld for federal tax, and on top of that, I had to pay income tax additionally for that $51,000. And even after all that, I still had to scrape together an additional $19,000 to even have enough to close on my first investment property. All in, I put around $70,000 down for a condo that cost about $270,000 in downtown Chicago. Came with a deeded parking spot that was separate from the unit itself. Then expected rent was around $2,100. Actually ended up getting $2,200 a month for the unit, and then I rented out the parking spot separately for $200 a month. To be candid, even though the cash flow was extremely low at the time, it opened my eyes to what this could be a few years down the line once I start paying it off and increasing my monthly surplus, my monthly net income just off this condo and parking spot. Truth to passive income, sometimes it doesn't come all at once, right? Like, you're not generating $200 to $600 a month starting off. Keep in mind later down the line, good things don't come rushed. You have to have patience, you have to do your research, and you also have to take relative significant risks. Future videos, I'll break down the numbers, the cash flow, whether it made sense financially. Smart money move I would recommend is, before giving your money to a financial advisor, please look into what that financial advisor is actually providing to you. For instance, my account was not growing, and I was paying, I think, 2% annually to this financial advisor for managing this money. To me, the risk of using this money to invest in real estate was not much of a risk at all, because the money, in fact, was not even growing significantly. Not saying that all financial advisors are just charging you money for nothing. In my opinion, that money could be used for something that I could control more directly. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. This concludes my 5-video series with how I amassed most of my wealth through real estate. Moving forward, I'm going to be going into budgeting. That's my very next video. And then the videos after that will be related to my first rental property. Is my rental actually profitable? Breaking down my Chicago rental numbers. Should you cash out an IRA to invest? How I found my first tenant. How I used this same process for moving around equity to close on my second investment property just earlier this year. Also going to be showing what else I'm invested in. I have a Robinhood account that I utilize. I can put a link in the bottom for you guys to check it out if you're interested. And I'll also go through my net worth calculator that I use in Microsoft Excel, break down sort of where all of my other money is. Let me know if you guys have any questions specifically down below. Like, share, comment, subscribe for more videos and more content on financial well-being.
For today, with some money.